Welcome everybody. Good to see you here. Topic of today, improvements in layer floor feeding and aviary system. We wanted to highlight some specific details how to improve your layer operation, cage-free layer operation. And where that all starts, what happens, what are key factors, and not all of it related to the color of the metal you buy, but also some real topics that you can do yourself when you already have a operation, how you can improve, what are factors, that kind of stuff. My name is Frank Luttels. Since '89 in agricultural business, first producing, developing and producing agricultural machinery for harvesting Luttels, porridge, all that kind of stuff. Later switched to chicken in '89, and since '17 I'm the layer product manager for Chore-Time in US, and for that responsible for the whole layer package for Chore-Time worldwide. Where does the laying period start? Well, often when I ask people, they tell me the laying period starts at week 17 when they have the birds in the house. Well, actually what we think, it starts here at day one. Day one, rearing them, train them from day one for that cage-free is really critical and really important. Because what we see way too often is that people think that they can rear cage-free like this. And yeah, this is cage-free. But for a modern cage-free operation, when it is floor or when it is aviary, this is not sufficient. You can train birds here, and maybe when you're lucky you have a few birds sitting on the pipe, and that's considered the perch then, but this is not cage-free training what you should do. Invest a little bit more in decent cage-free training. We consider to have more or less three different systems. You have the real floor systems, you have the Nivovaria, so the systems with platforms, with perches, winchable stuff in it, and you have the real aviary rearing. Floor rearing, well, when you go to a floor house and you have some jumping things in it, in the rearing, you could do it, but normally we would consider Nivovaria and aviary. That is decent rearing for cage-free chicken to train them. To train them from day one, to have that muscle development, that bone development, because that's also often forgotten. People think it's only muscle they need to jump, but also the bone and the bone density increases when you train them from day one. And that's a real critical factor, because often what you hear, they damage themselves, they have breastbone breakage later on in the laying period. A lot is related to the rearing the first 17 weeks. So consider platforms, perches, winchable stuff as decent training. Consider aviary as decent training. Stay away from floor. And sometimes I know, when you start first flock, there is no possibility to go different. But as soon as you can, buy or train them yourself on a decent rearing system. Really critical. And that's how we call it then, train them like a pro. We like to have them in aviaries. We like to have them with perches, compartments. And the big advantage of an aviary over a Nivovaria system, so a platform system, is that with an aviary, your management is way easier. When you have to vaccinate and everything, you close the doors in the evening and it's like a cage. And we all know cage chicken is the easiest way to handle them labor-wise, and that's what we can imitate partially with aviary. And an aviary, it's way easier to handle them, way cheaper in labor overall, plus your overall density in the house is higher. Your normal stock density on a Nivovaria system is about 25 birds square meter. Aviary, you go up 38 to 40 birds square meter. So your house cost, your ventilation cost, because you have the same control. Yeah, maybe you add one extra fan. But your housing, ventilation, all that kind of stuff is more or less the same, but you have more birds in the house. Yes, you pay more for the equipment, but you pay less for the rest of the building. Plus your quality of the birds will be higher and more equal over time and more equal in the flock. That's really important. Chore-Time cage-free equipment. What do we have? What do we offer? What are some aspects what we have in it? This is our Chore-Time Aviary. You see, one of the unique things you can see also on the display is our RDE nest. That's our nest with our special expeller. We kick out all the birds. We do that with our rack drive system. Our fingers go over the astroturf and we'll scoop out all the birds, dead or alive. No problems. So you see the nest. The nest is proven. It's already since 2012 on the market. It's really sturdy. It's built from dampy wooden material. We stick to wood. We tested a lot, but this is really the best way going forward to have less floor eggs, to have a very good high quality nest. Yeah, you see the birds moving around completely freely. Also access underneath. There's also a thing. People think, okay, I buy these closing grates and I close them and I leave them closed for all time because that's easier and I don't have to clean underneath the system. I don't have floor eggs. Give these birds floor access. When they have floor access, they do scratching, they do dust baiting, and their overall performance and behavior is better. You will have less feather packing, less stuff like that when you give them this access. You see inside the system, the feeder, that will come later. And here you see, especially brown birds, when you walk into that houses, they gather around your feet. When you have cold feet, stand still, they will warm them. You see our drinker, our button drinker. We use them quite a lot, especially for layers. Also in Europe we have non-D-beak birds, so they have that whole beak and they can drink really well on that button drinker. And here you see our unique ultra-flow feeder. That's an ultra-flow loop feeder, and the special thing of that is that feed spillage is less, 3, 4, some say 5% customers. It has a high running speed, they can't eat when it runs, and it doesn't demangle the feed. So your distribution over all the loop, the feed is consistent. So it's also really consistent in what the birds get. So fast feed delivery, less spillage, and payback time of the little extra cost on a chain feeder and then this one is normally less than a year. You see here, aisles not too wide, important, birds have to jump over in the aisle. Don't think, okay, I make the aisle that wide that the loader can drive in it easily. Well, the chicken has to perform 365 days a year and make it for the chicken, that it's right for the chicken. One other real critical detail that you can put in an existing house that will increase your performance, but also is part of all our aviary system, are perches. And perches, even in a normal floor layer house, when you don't have them, add them. Make them from wood, make them from some pipe where you have laying around, doesn't matter, build perches. Make perches for these birds. Having perches makes them sleep on top, make them sleep spread, not smothering in corners. You can ventilate better, you don't have hot spots in your house. They can flee away when they are a little bit packed on. They will sit on the perch and rest there and are not bothered by other chicken. So even for a normal floor house and you don't have perches yet, when you will put in perches, 15 centimeters or 6-7 inches per bird, 6 inches, you will see an increase in performance. These simple things help you to increase performance. It's real simple, it's real cheap, it doesn't cost you a ton of money, but it's really important that you have them in your house. And you will see all the aviary houses we design will have perches. You see that there in the display. We vary them. We always look, okay, amount of birds, what are the needs for the law, and that kind of stuff, and then we adjust to it, but we always have perches in it, always. Never integrated perches. Some people say, oh, I have integrated perches in this plastic slat. That's not a perch. A perch considered is a real perch. And even when it's only a foot high from the floor, doesn't matter, that's a perch. They will sit on it, they will rest on it, they will sleep on it. And you will see, even when they are not trained with perches and in rearing, what they should be, but when it's even not done, they will use perches and lay. They will start later, it will pick up, but after a while, all the birds will sleep on perches. What do we use a lot? Also nest, floor nest. We see a ton of broiler houses remodeled nowadays and everything, not suitable for aviaries. People hesitating for aviaries, want to go more for a normal nest house. We building currently a ton of these nest houses with our flat roof nest. 58 flat roof, so the space on top of the nest can be included in the floor space, so you have a little bit extra amount of birds. It's also on display here in the booth. And you see here our ultra flow feeder with perches. It's there, they are there. So 3 perches per line, so already here is 9 extra perches. And what you see here, underneath this one, also a drinking line. We started 2 years ago with one customer testing and doing. We have an A-frame for that ultra flow, and underneath the ultra flow feeder we add the drinking line. That saves space in the house, because normally the drinking line adds up another line that gives barriers, and that works really great. And mostly we do it in combination. We have a drinking line underneath the feeder, and we have a drinking line at the nest, and then we have less drinkers per meter or per foot, but we have 2 lines and we have more access for the birds, open area, not so crowded, also for yourself to walk through. Floor houses, and of course our Vike. Our Vike 2, that's our fastest and most sold aviary, what we do. That's actually the aviary invented by farmer Pieter van Acht in the Netherlands in 1998. He came up with the idea, switching away from the older systems with some platforms and a separate nest at the wall. He came up with the idea to integrate the nest into the aviary. And still, actually, that design from him from that time, what you see all around here, everyone uses it nowadays. That's still the base model, and that's more or less what we say the steady Mercedes-Benz or the John Deere of all the equipment. Yeah, that really works. That works really great. You see here our latest version with the integrated egg belt. So when you want to collect mislaid eggs, also automatically we have an integrated egg belt. Also on display here. Another model we sell a lot is the Vike 5. That has a wider base and a narrower top. A misconception on this one is that a ton of people think that all the birds will go up like this, like a tree. But birds like to jump in the aisle. That's what I said earlier on the video. The birds like to jump in that aisle up. They will go here. They need some stairs and stuff. But it's not that these houses perform better than these houses. So in general, when you say which system do I take and how much space do I have, in general, going for the Vike 2 systems, you can have some extra birds in your house against the Vike 5. And also the jumping and the jumping distance in the aisles, you increase them by having a Vike 5, because you increase that extra foot of width to jump to the other side, because you create more distance. So we have it both, we sell both, they both perform well, but money-wise, space-wise, bird-wise, we prefer normally the Vike 2. And yeah, some birds will go up like this. They will need a stair, but it's not a critical factor in your overall performance. We have quite a ton of different models of what we can build with our Vike family. Everything is modular built. You see the Vike 2 2500, you see the narrow version, you see the Vike 4 that has an extra tier. Especially in Europe, a lot of people like that design and still uses that. Yeah, we have really quite some different. But also for special eggs, organic, that kind of stuff, from our heritage from Switzerland, because the company that was bought by Chore-Time was doing aviary since 1991 in Switzerland, and we had our Eco and our Tradition systems. These are the systems a little bit less density and stuff, but with a separate nest, a wall nest or a middle nest, depends on the width of the house and everything. But with this and all these systems, we can build different configurations. So especially also for special eggs, we see that in some areas now they want organic or special organic. They want a little bit higher bird density in the house than the floor house, so they go for these systems. So these systems really work. And yeah, so you see we have a ton of variety, and when you want to have a layout of a farm, we can offer you quite some. We specially made the Vike Adapt. The Adapt is made for these older high-rise houses that doesn't have enough height for the normal aviary. We have a lower version. So with all these systems and with the combination what we can do, including integrated floor, yeah, we can put Adapt also on a normal Vike too, or opposite. So we have a ton of different possibilities. Or what we did with the Adapt is we had a pitched roof. Outer rows were not high enough for normal Vike 2. We went to the Adapt, and the central row was a normal Vike 2. So we can combine them. It's no issue, no problem at all. So we have really a ton of products to get there. Vike Adapt using lower conditions. You see here, it was a house with a ceiling. The space was not enough for a normal aviary, so we went for the Adapt there. All the same nest, everything, really, really simple. Possible house layouts, well, a typical old broiler shed or even new built layer shed with a floor system, nest in the center, some loops of ultra flow, amount of loops of course according to the amount of birds that are in it, but you see it here, drinking line. They can eat from the perch and they can drink from the sled. So everything is raised, so your sled is quite open, so the way to the nest is quite open. They eat from the perch, and that's a real simple system to start with. We even have, because often birds are not used and not trained on ultra flow in rearing, we also have a version you can lower this feeder down to the sleds for the first 1 or 2 weeks. You do that with one line, the rest you keep up, and as soon as they're used to it, you winch it up and they have to eat from the perch. That's a little bit of adaptance when you put them in. They have to learn it, to sit on that perch and eat. So when they are not used to it from the rearing, we have the possibility to lower that feeder and they can eat from the sled, and then later on re-raise it. Yeah, house layout, we actually built this one in Spain. A very wide house with all Vike aviaries. The customer liked a little bit of Vike 5, so we ended up with a few Vike 5s and the rest of Vike 2. Yeah, that's your preferences. What do you like? What do you want? And yeah, give us a house plan and we make a design for it. A design with an integrated floor. As said, we can stagger systems on top of each other. We can have 1 or 2 integrated floors. Both is possible. This is a Adapt in 2-tier system, what you see here. One key important factor what pays the bill every day, that are A-grade eggs. At the end of the day, every A-grade egg that is here, that pays your bill. Because every crack egg, every too dirty egg, although you can wash it maybe, but maybe you have to wash it 2 or 3 times, that's also cost and risk on crack. A-grade eggs are the key factor. That's why we use that high quality nest that gives you A-grade eggs. We use the same nest as we use for broiler breeders, layer breeders, we use for lay. High quality with the AstroTurf pad, with the real good expeller, to have clean eggs with less cracks, have them on that egg belt and have them as A-grade egg at your packer. That is critical every day. So critical factors, good rearing, put these perches in your layer system and use a decent nest. That are real 3 key topics what we think is really, really important for your layer operation. Thank you for your attention, and this was my small presentation on how maybe to improve a little bit on layer cage free.